So a Tribe Called Quest are going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because Tribe is great. One of the greatest hip-hop acts ever. I am surprised because they got in before De La Soul. De La Soul has been on the induction list for since 2014, and for some reason they're not in the Rock Hall. So hopefully, since Tribe's going in, De La will come after them, maybe in the next couple of years or so. But Tribe Called Quest is one of my favorite. They can do no wrong. The only time I felt bad about them is when they had the documentary that Michael Rappaport did about them, and he caught them when they were just not talking to each other, especially Phife and Q-Tip. Metallica made a documentary that was kind of similar when they made it at the time where they were also fighting, but they're fine now. It is unfortunately, I think Tribe patched some things up, but it wasn't the same, and unfortunately Phife Dawg died in 2016. So I don't know if they fully patched things up like Metallica did, but yeah. And Tribe hated that documentary from Michael Rappaport, but it was part of their history. So Tribe is great because they had slow organic growth. So the first time we see Q-Tip, it's in De La Soul's Me, Myself, and I, because he's saying black is black. So then we see Q-Tip again, and he's in one of the greatest posse cuts of all time, the Buddy remix by De La Soul, which features the Jungle Brothers and Moni Love and a Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest. One of the greatest cuts ever. Fantastic. So we knew that Q-Tip and Tribe Called Quest, which was his group, were part of the Native Tongues. They're like the little brothers of the Native Tongues, which also included Queen Latifah. So you kind of figured that they would kind of sound like the Jungle Brothers and De La Soul, right? Yes and no. They did on that first track, but not after that. So they dropped People Instinctive Travels. The first track is I Left My Wallet at El Segundo. Still one of the most unique sounding songs, one of the most unique looking videos. There's nothing that looks like that since. It is a very cool track, right? And it kind of fits in that De La Jungle Brothers vibe where he's almost like, oh, they're doing something that's totally different. But that's the last time they do a track like that because everything else is so jazzy oriented. The second track they drops is one of the best hip hop songs ever. One of the greatest hip hop songs ever. Bonita Applebum, which Q-Tip wrote while I think he was 16 years old. One of the best love songs ever. One of the best hip hop love songs ever. Can I love you? Can I lust for you? 38, 24, 37. Oh, it just puts you in a good mood, man. It puts me in a Love Jones mood. I love that track so much. I can't. That track will never get old. Bonita Applebum. And then you had the Bonita Applebum remix at the time, which was used In Between the Sheets by the Isley Brothers. I think it was like a European cut. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I love that. I just love that album. And then you have Footprints, which wasn't released on it, was on that album too. People Instinctive Travels really doesn't get as much love as it should. Can I Kick It was also on that album. It really doesn't, because usually as the years went along, it's like, oh my God, Low End Theory, Midnight Marauders. But People Instinctive Travels, it's really underrated for a debut album. Really underrated. Just go back and listen. If you haven't listened to it in a while, go listen to it. So then Low End Theory comes out. They give us Check the Rhyme. In Your Ears, Check the Rhyme is a magnificent song, but they give you one of the greatest lines ever. Industry rule number 4080, record company people are shady, and they still are in 2024. Damn shame. You get Check the Rhyme off that album. We got the jazz off that album. You get Bugging Out off that album. And then you get the Opus off that album. Scenario, video directed by Spike Lee, which was basically the internet before the internet, because you see stuff like buffering and all that stuff. Oh, Spike did a wonderful job on that. It featured Tribe Called Quest and Leaders of the New School, which Busta Rhymes at the end as the Dungeon Dragon. He gave us one of the greatest verses ever in hip hop and simultaneously launched his solo career, which he didn't know he was about to do, and kill off his group. And he killed off Leaders of the New School because they would kick him out later. It's a tragic story between Busta and Leaders of the New School. And it's sad because they're not really, I don't know, that's a whole different video. So that's that album. That's that album. Then we get to Midnight Marauders, as you see here with all the faces of different hip hoppers on it. We get a Wars tour. Dave from De La Soul pops up on a Wars tour going like this. We got a war tour, my Muhammad, my man. Dave is back. Then we get my favorite, probably favorite Tribe video, electric Relaxation. I used to have a crush on Dolphin McVogue. Marilyn Woods. I'm just thinking about the women that Phife was talking about. It's like, these are women that I liked. Yeah, Electric Relaxation's great. And then Busta comes back with, oh my God, yes, oh my God. And then one of my favorite non-released Tribe tracks, lyrics to go. Midnight Marauders is a good album, man. All their albums are good. And then a couple years after that, they hook up a a young Jay Dilla, and they do Find a Way. They were great, man. You really can't go wrong with any Tribe album. They were all great. And then the crazy thing is, probably one of my favorite Tribe tracks wasn't even on their album. It was Hot Sex, which was on the Boomerang soundtrack. Eddie Murphy's great film, Boomerang. Love that film with Halle Berry, Robin Givens, Martin Lawrence, and David Alan Grier, and a young Chris Rock as the mail clerk. Yeah, Hot Sex came out of nowhere. Like, what was this little nugget? Hot Sex on a platter. And Q-Tip in the video was wearing a mask. So the rumor was, because they had some type of altercation between Rex and Effect back in the day. And rumor has it that whatever happened, Q-Tip had to wear that mask. Because they had a fight. And when they filmed that video, he had to wear a mask. I don't know if that's true. If you know Q-Tip, have him tell the story. What did I didn't know about Q-Tip? Like, I didn't find out till years later. It's like he dated Angie Martinez. And they had a pretty decent relationship. And then they were together when he had this crib. He had this apartment where he had all this vinyl. Because Q-Tip, Shaheed Muhammad is the producer, but Q-Tip is the mastermind. He's actually the main producer of it. Everything that you hear from Tribe is because of Q-Tip. The jazz, all that stuff, it's Q-Tip, right? But I guess when Angie and Tip were together, there was a fire and all his records got destroyed. Oh, that had to be devastating to lose all that vinyl back in the day like that. But the fascinating thing when you look at Tribe Called Quest is that, yeah, in the beginning it was about Q-Tip, but and Phife, Phife was great. But then as the years went along, it's like, oh man, Phife is good too. And I think what the beef that happened was I think that Phife wanted, he wanted more say. It's like any group. Like, they got together when they were in high school. So they were teenagers. And Q-Tip was the brains of the operation. He had a focus. He knew what he wanted to do. But as the years go along and Phife became a better rapper, he just said, hey, man, I want some say too. And I don't think Tip was really feeling that. But plus, everybody was young. Everybody's in their early 20s. When you're in your early 20s, this happened to me. Like, there's things that happen. You have arguments that you have, disagreements you have with people your own age, and you don't know how to handle it because of lack of experience, and you just don't know. So, I think that's where they had a falling out at, because I don't think Phife felt like he was being heard. And, I'm sure if they were older, they would have worked it out. But being as young as they were, they just couldn't really work it out at that time. And Pharrell always said that he loves A Tribe Called Quest. Outkast, they're very influenced by Tribe Called Quest. Tribe Called Quest is like, people might argue, like, why are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because if it wasn't for A Tribe Called Quest, you guys wouldn't have Pharrell. You might not have Outkast. They were a very big influence. Yeah, they might have made a big album like The Chronic, or even something like Public Enemy's A Taste in the Millions, right? They didn't have that type of major success album-wise, but their musical influence, the fact that they were in this era of The Chronic, where, with Gangstar and Diggable Planets and Pure Rock and CL Smooth, where he had this nice jazz era mixed around New Jack Swing, and they still became legends with these different genres having bigger hits. That says a lot about Q-Tip, Ali, Phife, and Jarobi. Congratulations, man. You deserve it.